My name's Paul, this is Ed. I look after the ads business in Europe, and Ed looks after our creative studio business, which is a new thing we're going to talk to you about today. But it wouldn't be an Uber presentation at the IAB unless we gave you an opportunity to win something. So if you could get your phones out and have a look at your Uber app, and then stand up, there is an opportunity for everyone to win something here. So I have an Uber rating of 4.77, which is actually quite shocking considering the number of Ubers I run in. But there you go. It's not that brilliant because the average is a bit higher. So if you could
I won't say what mine is.
Sorry?
I won't say what mine is.
But Ed's not going to reveal his yet, but we'll get him to reveal it. So if you could all stand up with your and have a look at your Uber rating, and then we'll just work a quick game. And there are some prizes for everyone. Right. First thing, if you have an Uber rating of less than 4.5, you need to sit down. Oh, good crowd. That's not bad, actually.
Boo.
You two, you'll get a prize. I'll tell you how. Right. Right, at 4.55. Oh, no one's sitting down for that. Okay. Sit down if you've never taken an Uber to a cultural event, like a restaurant, a gig, not a transport hub, anything else. Oh, good. Sit down if you've never gone to a gig specifically, so a concert or a theatre. Blimey, good. This is going well. Yeah. Okay, 4.6. If you've got 4.6, you can sit down. 4.6 or below? No? God, this is a tough crowd. 4.65. 4.7. 4.8. Oh.
There we go.
Oh.
There we go.
Now, for those who just sat down, the average for Uber is about 4.8, so you're okay. Right, what have we got left? 4.85. So how many have we got standing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right,
10.
all of you are winners. We'll make that very simple. All of you are winners. If you can email me afterwards, paul.wright@uber.com, or contact one of my colleagues, we will send you a little gift, and thank you for being great Uber customers, and you too as well, of course. We need to help you. Anyway, thank you for playing. Much appreciated, but please email me afterwards. Right, what do we want to talk about? So we're going to talk today about, our business has moved on quite a lot since where we were. And for those of you, this is our third time at the IAB Upfronts. And when we first launched, we were essentially just launching into market and becoming an ad business, which obviously for a business like ours is not the most straightforward thing. It takes some change, it takes some cultural effort within the organization. But we've committed to it, and we've now built a business which is very substantial. But what we've noticed in that is that there's a lot more to what we do in terms of our audience than perhaps we initially realized when we first set out on this journey. And we talk about this moment, we're connecting digital native generation, and this is what we want to talk to you today about, who this Uber generation is, what are their cultural approaches to things, and how now in 26 you can work with us in very interesting ways, and that's what Ed's going to cover. So if you think about it, as we've seen with the little game we played, you are definitely an Uber generation. You're all using us for various things. I'm sure you use us for eats as well as rides. And you're using us at key moments in your life, cultural moments, whether it's coming home from a gig or it's going to a family party or whatever else happens to be. And we spent a long time thinking about what does this, how do we understand this audience? Because we weren't originally, 3 years ago, we weren't a real in-app business. So we certainly have to think about being an advertising business, we need to understand audience in a different way than perhaps we did before as a business. So the idea was to have a think of how our audience fits into what is a very complicated world. And what do I mean by that? Well, there's a lot of things going on, and all of you who are buying media or planning media know how complicated it is now. You've got platform saturation, lots of voices, you've got algorithm fatigue, content is optimized but not always trusted, you've got attention fragmentation as well. So as we all know, we're always getting distracted. We're always thinking about what else could we be doing, or do I need to check Slack, or do I need to check whatever other thing I need from work? So we know that this is all going on, and we also know that there are key parts of people's lives which are fairly sacrosanct, but also very clearly identifiable to the way someone may interact with an app like ours. And we did some work end of last year into this year with about just over 1,000 people across the globe in terms of understanding what the Uber audience is all about, because we needed to understand the audience before we could actually think about what we could do in terms of engaging with them. And what we've come up with is this idea of Uber, Generation Uber, or Gen Uber as we call it. And there are three key pillars to why Gen Uber is a little bit different to audiences you might get otherwise. They crave connection, and you'd expect that. People using Uber heavily, they've got a social circle and all that type of stuff. But they're very keen to work with brands that show up with purpose. So this is a group of people, if you think about this audience, who are very engaged with brands. They're tuned in, they're digitally fluent, and they're always on the move. 20% of our trips go to airports, which I think is a good indicator of anything, let alone what we do with other places. So it's a really good indicator that these are people who are moving, they're going and experiencing things. And they don't wait for brands. And this is interesting. So they actually sometimes will jump on new brands. We see this on the Uber Eats platform quite regularly. A new restaurant will come on board and suddenly will start flying because of great recommendations. So they're not going to wait for brands. They'll choose ones that go with them. And I think that's also very important. So those are the three pillars of the Gen Uber audience. If you break it down a bit more interestingly, to prove what I just said, they're more likely to do spontaneous buying. Not really a surprise. They're on a quick commerce platform, and that quick commerce platform allows you to get a bottle of wine in 15 minutes from Sainsbury's or whatever else happens to be. They can book a car for the airport on the same day. Now, I travel a lot. I tend not to do that, but I know exactly why people would do that, because they know that Uber's reliable and it will take you there. They pay for rush delivery. It's about getting the product rather than necessarily worrying about price. They buy party supplies last minute. This is always a thing with Uber. We get a lot of interesting stuff that people will suddenly do on a Friday night or a Saturday night just before a party. And they buy latest tech model as soon as it's possible. So they're very, very tech savvy. So they buy smartly. They've got a very high expectation of fast interaction, and they blend impulse with intent. And we thought, well, this is great. But actually, there's some other things in here, and this brand element and how they interact with brands we think is really vital for the next stage of our growth. So Eddie's now going to take you through Creative Studio and how we thought about that.
Thanks, Paul. So before I get onto Creative Studio, I think that when we got our hands on the research, we pulled out three really, really interesting insights that helped us shape what we do now. And one of those insights is that this audience are more likely to prioritize in real life experiences versus passive consumption. It's probably down to a knock-on effect of the COVID era. People want to get out, they want to be with people, and they want to share those experiences. And when brands do execute those experiences, they also want those brands to make them feel connected to others. But more importantly, 70% of them want to embrace those on-demand solutions. And this is a result of this generation growing up with these on-demand solutions. They can order a cab when they want, they can order food when they want, they can get their dry cleaning done at a touch of a button. So with these three kind of insights, we really started to think about how can we help brands win with this audience. And it's really about being in the right place at the right time with the right message. It's about integration rather than interruption. And that really led us to launching what we're calling today Creative Studio. We launched Creative Studio back in June at Cannes, and since then we've kind of been building and looking at ways that we can help brands win with this audience in a really unique to Uber way. So our mission is to create magical experiences for Gen Uber that are worth waiting for, but most importantly, that are also on demand. And when we think about what those experiences are, we always have in the back of our minds what the user experience is with Uber. So we want to meet the Gen Uber audience in their moments throughout their life and really show up in a way that will matter to them. So whether that's daily moments in, when they're taking a car, or whether they're ordering their favorite takeout, whether that's bringing to life some of the biggest pop culture moments in a very Uber-centric way, or whether it's showing up in seasonal moments that really matter to them when they're spending times with their friends and family. These are the types of experiences that we're now exploring and working with brands on to bring to life. So we're going to take you through a couple of things that are available today in the UK, and we're really excited about what's also coming next. So the bedrock of what the Creator Studio really do is playables and augmented reality. We have a really captive audience when people are using Uber, whether that's sitting in the back of a car for an average of 20 minutes or an average wait time of 20 to 25 minutes for their Uber Eats order. We have a real opportunity for brands to have a really deep and meaningful conversation with them. And playables and augmented reality provide the perfect backdrop on canvas to be able to have that conversation. So whether we're creating AR filters for McDonald's or bringing to life the red light, green light game through our AR functionality, we can work with brands to create these deeply rich, creative experiences that are seamlessly integrated into the Uber app without disturbing their day-to-day life. And this came to life recently with Coca-Cola. They brought back the iconic Share a Coke campaign. And when they came to our team to see how we can bring it to life, we thought, well, how can we bring this to life in a unique to Uber way? We wanted to actually be able to share that Coke both in the digital and in the physical world. So we hacked our playable format to be able to create this experience. So driven from the journey ad, when people were on their way home, people were able to click on the ad, and then they were taken to this experience where they could customize a Coke can for their best friend. They could then write them a message and send it via WhatsApp. Then when their friend received that message, they were given a £3 off voucher to use on Uber Eats when adding a Coke to their order. So we took that kind of concept and that really famous Share a Coke campaign and really made it something unique to Uber that our audience understands and will resonate with. And next up is something that we're really excited about in our team, and it's brand new to the UK this month. We are starting to look at ways to be able to bring branded content to brands, but again, doing it in a very Uber way. So how can we create content that resonates with audiences in situations that they really understand and are familiar with, but also bring in another brand into that world? So now with the Creative Studio, we can concept, create, and produce content for any brand and bring in the Uber IP, whether that's the Uber Rides IP or the Uber Eats IP, creating normal situations where other brands can show up. We recently did this with Amazon's Blink camera, and as you can see there, we created a kind of concept where the Blink camera is catching all of the kind of unseen moments throughout the day. For anyone that browses Instagram or TikTok, I'm sure you've seen these kind of clips. My favorite is wildlife moments when people are away, bears being scared by cats, things like that. So we took that kind of popular culture concept and created this with Blink. So it's Uber Eats deliveries arriving, and then I love the basketball one, getting a three-pointer from the doorway. So we can start to now do this with any brands in the UK as well. And how we've kind of done it in the past and some other examples. I mentioned the red light, green light game before. Squid Games is a phenomenon. Every time a new season comes out, there's massive hype about the release. And Netflix wanted to work with us to kind of work on something that was a bit more experiential. So again, we have this moment in the back of the car or when people are waiting for their order. So we created this really highly crafted red light, green light game that people could play whilst they're in the back of the car waiting for their order and challenge themselves to see how far they get. But we wanted to take it into the real world as well. So in Miami, we created this Uber shuttle experience where fans of the show, were met by characters from the show, taken on this bus, taken to the Hard Rock Cafe, but in the back of the car, they could also play this AR game as well. So we're looking at ways to blend that physical and digital experience. And then finally, one of the biggest kind of cultural moments in the US, the Super Bowl, we wanted to treat Uber One members to a truly unforgettable experience as they got excited and prepped for the Super Bowl. So we worked with PepsiCo to create the Super Bowl bodega, where fans could go and fill up their bags full of snacks and treats in preparation to celebrate the Super Bowl in their own way. So this whole bodega was stocked with all of the products that PepsiCo has under its brand. I'm going to hand over to Paul.
Thank you, Sam. So those are some examples of what we're doing. We'll have more as we go into 26, as we develop this concept within the business. But we're always very keen to understand from brands what they want to, how they want to work with us. We obviously have a very extensive approach in our brand approach anyway in terms of what we do with our marketing teams. But we also have lots of opportunities that go beyond the normal buying the media. But the media stuff is still very strong, and that's continued to grow. And just a summary on that, there's a lot of changes we're placing in media in terms of measurement and beyond that's going to continue building the Uber Ads business. But we're always very keen to chat, open to opportunities. We're very close to the teams in London because we all sit in the same office. So we work across all of the different teams within Uber and can help you engage with your customers on our platform. So we are around today. We're giving out popcorn, which apparently is very popular according to James and the team. So we'll keep giving out popcorn. The team are going to be here for the rest of the afternoon. If you'd like to meet with us at any stage, please do so. And for those people who are winning prizes, please email me at paul.wright@uber.com, and I will make sure you get your prizes. And thank you for being great Uber customers. Much appreciated.